One of the most common questions I get is how to export data. Not to connect to another database or the ETL process like SSIS, but just to take a query and put it in a file. Normally what I would tell people, depending on the size, is you can do a basic query. You can build a select statement or just go in here and right click on one of these tables. Let's pick on cities and do a select. Let's do select everything. There's about 37,000, almost 38,000 rows here. But at this grid, and assuming you have enough RAM, you can actually go here to this little white box. You can right click on it and you can do a save results as. And this is just a convenient way to save a query. Management Studio will just save it to the file you specify, and everything will basically be converted to text. In this case, it's a CSV file. And if I open it back up, now this is pretty simple, pretty easy, but there's problems with this. One of them is this location field. This location field is actually spatial data, or the geography data type. So what you're looking at is a representation that Management Studio kind of translated. So the geography data type is actually an object. So what you're looking at is not an object. So this is not really accurate for that export. If we were to exclude this field, then everything else is a date time, a bit, an integer, a text string. So they can be exported simply by going to the grid, right-clicking, and doing the save as. Now there's some cases where the size is too large for something like the grid, doing a copy and paste. You may want to use the export wizard, and you can find that when you right-click on the database, go to task, and then export data. And the wizard will walk you through the data source connection. In this case, I'm just going to use OLEDB. And my WSQL01 connection. And for the destination, I want this to be a flat file destination. And I'm going to call this something a little different. A file export, and we'll make it a CSV file. The rest of this is okay. Format is delimited, and I want the column names in the first data row. Now when you click next, you have the option to write a query to specify the data to transfer. So you can literally just paste a select statement or something in this query window, and that's the data that it'll use to export. But I want to show actually an error first. So we're going to copy everything that's in that table. This is the application cities table. The row delimiter is CR stands for carriage return, LF stands for line feed, but basically it just means that it's going to add that to the file in order to recognize there's a new line. The column delimiter is important, and it's important to understand that this is changeable. Because depending on the data that you have, you might have content that has commas in it. You can't use the comma delimiter if your content has commas in it. There's other options like the tab, vertical bar, semicolon, colon. I mean, there's plenty of other options in here to choose from. Since a lot of content does not include the vertical bar, I've actually used vertical bar many times and haven't had much trouble with that. But the end result is whatever the column data field is, it will add this delimiter to the end of it before it begins with the next column. So just as an example, we're going to change, instead of comma, we're going to use the vertical bar. And let's preview that. So this is the data that's going to be coming out. We're going to have an issue with the location field, but I'm going to show that, and then we're going to take it out and then show a successful export. So let's click OK. I'll click on Edit Mappings. In this case, we are creating the destination file. These are the fields, the source and destination fields, so you can change the name if you'd like to. The size, the data type can also be changed. Again, you notice the location is an image data type. That actually is incorrect, but that's okay. Click OK, hit Next, and we're just going to run it. And we get this predictable error. Basically, it has a problem with that field. It's not sure what to do with the location field. So what we're going to do is take that field out so we can see this successfully export. We'll go back to our Edit Mappings button. And our location is the problem, so we're going to choose Location Destination as Ignore. So it's now just going to export the other fields and ignore the location field. And just click Finish. And now the file has been exported successfully, all 37,940 rows. Let's try opening it. And again, when it opens up the CSV file, it's looking for a delimiter. The default is the comma, but that's not what we used. You can see that all of the data is mashed together because it doesn't see a comma that's separating those columns. So we uncheck comma, and in the other field, we're going to put the pipe character because that's what we used. And you can see it updates right away. You now see columns in the fields that we want to. So I'll click OK. And now we have our data exported to a CSV file. The definition of the geography data type is beyond this example, but I just wanted to show an error that there are certain data types that you may not be able to export easily. When using the wizard, you can choose to ignore that field, or you can simply write a query and use that statement, the select statement, in the wizard and exclude the fields that you don't want to. I hope that helps. Please don't forget to leave some comments and like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.